Well, Kayla Zigic, I think I said that right. Did I just butcher that? No, did I get it?
Perfect.
Welcome to the Lessons of a Lashpreneur show. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, who you serve, and how you help our beauty industry?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Kayla Zigic. I have a social media marketing agency and a social media membership specifically for salon owners. I myself am a veteran beauty therapist, I guess, esthetician over in the States. And I have been in the industry for nearly 21 years since I was a baby. It's the only thing I've ever known. And yeah, I'm really passionate about helping people grow and convert their followers into clients via social media. So I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. How did we connect? Were you following me and then like threw me a DM and slid into my DMs?
I think so. I think, yeah. If you
Yes,
want it, you go get it,
work.
right?
You can meet amazing people in the DMs, and then you can meet some really weird ones. Like most of them are weird, but I was like, sweet, I love what you do. Let's talk. And so we've connected a few times, and then finally, as with every first date in the Lessons of a Lashpreneur world, I'm like, come on the podcast, let's talk. So let's talk about what is it that you find are kind of some of the major hangups people have when they think about using social media to get clients in the door.
A lot of people just hate social media, to be honest. Like, if I could get people to describe social media in one word, I did this just recently on my own social media. It was frustrated, defeated, overwhelmed, and for lack of a better word, hate it.
Yeah.
So I think people have a really large negative thought process when it comes to social media, and more so, lack for a better word, social media has evolved so much in the last 5 years, let alone the last 10 years. And a lot of people are still doing a lot of the same things that they were doing 5 years ago and expecting it to still work. So they do have that negative thought process behind it. And that is something that definitely needs to change in order for them to have better mental health around social media, but also be able to grow and use social media as the platform that it is, which is a free social marketing platform to grow your business.
Yeah. And I think the key word in all of that, and what I understand from the audience too, is that you have to look at it from marketing, not consumption, right? There's the consumer consumption, which is why I think most people are like, it's bad for my mental health. Like, I don't want to go on there. It's toxic and blah, 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 blah. It's like you're going on there as a consumer of the content rather than the creator of the content, which is for marketing purposes. So if you had to explain the difference between being a creator of content for marketing purposes versus a consumer, how would you describe the difference between the two?
Okay, if we were looking at a creator of content, obviously we are trying to create value for our target audience in order to grow our brand authority, grow our brand awareness within our business, and essentially grow our salon and convert those followers into clients. If we were a consumer of the content, we're really looking at taking in everyone else's content and creating that really negative mental health side. We get to choose who we follow and what type of content we consume. So if you have a really bad, thought process around social media because of who you follow, because you are comparing yourself to other salons around the corner, because they have more followers than you, unfollow them. Don't consume their content. Actually use the platform as a creator and create valuable content for your target audience, as opposed to consuming it and getting bogged down in all the negativity of comparing yourself to other businesses in and around your area.
100%. Yeah, I've had this kind of awakening. Gosh, it had to have been in the first year of starting the Lashpreneur, because I started getting real freaked out because there was a lot of people like popping up as business coaches and like teaching stuff, and even like former students of mine that are like then starting to talk about stuff that I taught them, right? And this whole ego thing that got involved with it. And, after doing this several years, I start to notice that like a lot of people come on strong and they're posting and they're on my radar, but then they disappear off the face of the earth. But I'm like, I freaked out about them for like 2 or 3 months. And every time their post showed up in my feed, I go, and all of a sudden I feel like, am I doing enough? Like, do I need to go work more? And so even for my own boundaries around social media, I haven't followed anybody and everybody and most people, and you guys can go look at my followers right now, I don't follow that many beauty industry professionals other than those that I probably already have a relationship with. But for the most part, I follow a lot of spiritual, inspirational, motivational, like people are in the online marketing world because I get inspired by them for the sole purpose of, yes, I go on there specifically for content creation, but I want to be inspired when I go on there to train myself to enjoy being on a platform where I can connect with my audience, as opposed to getting on there and being like, God, I just don't want to be here, because your audience is going to pick up on that too. And that's not effective marketing.
Exactly. It's that reverse engineering. You need to then, as a creator, but also then put yourself in that consumer shoes when you are creating, but having those followers, like you said, who are going to educate you, who are going to inspire you, who are going to entertain you and give you valuable information that you can then learn and grow from.
Yeah, 100%. Even just thinking about yourself as a consumer of the content and the content that you actually enjoy versus the ones that like freak you out or make you feel like you're not good enough. When you put yourself back into that creator seat, now you know the value your platform can provide. Well, I, as a consumer, like stuff that's funny. I like stuff that's educational. I like stuff that inspires me. Well, flip that for your business. How can you create educational content? How can you create inspirational content? How can you create funny content? Because that's what tends to work on these types of platforms.
Absolutely. Massive, biggest content pillars that I teach all of my members is, someone is rowing behind me. Sorry, everyone.
It's a rough ride. You're by a lake, I think.
The content pillars that I teach all of my members is education, inspiration, education, and then obviously promotion and converting. So, why are the followers that you're consuming, that you're finding inspirational and educational, what are they doing that is making you feel that way, where you can go, I'm going to save that for later because I need to remember that. I'm going to share that on my own stories because it's relatable to me and I can relate to it. So start trying to take that kind of content and understanding why they're posting it, because you are their target audience if you're following them, and then start using that to actually create content yourself.
What about the people who don't want to put their face on social media? How do you help them either overcome that or work around it?
I am a huge advocate for putting yourself on social media. Obviously, I find that there are boundaries. I am a very big believer that, you shouldn't be showing all of your personal life. That is my personal belief and my personal opinion. But there are people who have very successful businesses in terms of they share a lot of their personal life, but their target audience might be someone who wants to grow their social media because they're an entrepreneur mother. So that, that educator might be showing what is possible, how to live your life as a successful entrepreneur. So that is very relatable to that target audience, right? But I think you really need to be kind to yourself. If we're thinking about, healthy relationships around social media, I think you need to take baby steps. If you're not comfortable with putting your face on social media, start with photos of yourself. If you're not comfortable with talking, it could be, a really small one. I say introduce yourself every couple of months on your social media feed. If you're getting new followers and you're posting 5 times a week and it's been 3 months, that's 60 posts. A lot of people only scroll once or twice on your social media. So they might not even get to that post where you have introduced yourself and talked about yourself, your visions, how you can serve your audience and your clients. So I really find that that's really important. But you'll actually see, if you ever go and have a look at your analytics, I would probably say 80% of the time, if you looked for patterns in your best performing posts, a lot of them will be photos of yourself or your team members.
I see that too, because we'll do some reviews of people's Instagram, and like the ones that always stand out are some sort of face of the owner with some sort of share about something personal. Now, we're not using this. I think that the difference I want to really make clear is we're not talking about you building out and being an influencer for your business where you're sharing everything you like and all of your junk and like you're not using it as a platform to express yourself personally. I think when we look at maybe our friends or our family that like get on there and rant about stuff, they're not doing it for a marketing purpose. You're not an influencer where people want to be you and live your life. You are a problem solver for a very specific set of problems that your services provide. So in order, especially because most of our audience are solo business owners, the relationship that somebody can build with you when they see your face and get to know little bits about you is what we're trying to create on social media. We're trying to create that social connection. And it's really hard to do that without a human being a part of that connection. Is that something that you kind of teach to or share?
Absolutely. I'm huge. It's a relationship platform, right? Social media is a relationship platform. So we need to be building those relationships with our target audience. We need, it's that know, like, and trust factor. People need to know us, they need to like us, and then they need to trust us. And if we are, the funnel process takes a lot longer if you're not putting your face on your social media and you're not actually building that connection with your target audience. You will find if you actually start building those relationships by putting yourself out there and putting your face on social media and sharing stories and building connections, they're going to move further down that funnel a lot quicker than what they would if you weren't showing your face.
Yes, especially if you are following your competitors. I want you to look at it. If you're okay with it, it's not going to trigger you. Go look at what they're posting, because honestly, most people are just posting appointments available. Look at this beauty. She's so fluffy, like fluffy lashes, C.15, 8 through 12 millimeter. Or on the flip side, she's posting content and reels that lash artists or other beauty providers think is funny, like bashing clients and making fun of clients and all that kind of stuff. It gets a lot of views for a different audience. But from a client perspective, like if I'm interested in your business and you're bashing your clients, that's immediate red flag. No, like I don't want to be the topic of your next piece of content. So kind of keep in mind that while it may feel very challenging for you to put yourself out there in what you're being compared to, because your clients are researching multiple, other businesses, you're going to stand out when you are sharing your face, because most people don't.
Exactly. So it's building that connection with your target audience. And you're allowed to be vulnerable on there. You can share stories about, how you got into the industry, how you got into the lash industry. Personally, myself, I got into the lash industry because I was working for a franchise company, and I just got married and we wanted to start a family, and I wanted to start working from home. That is something that's very relatable to a lot of, hardworking mums,
Yeah.
So, building those relationships, having people want to comment and engage with you on their content and on stories, right? That's huge. Once you start doing that and start building those relationships, you are not only potentially building clients, but you're building brand advocates as well. What you ideally want is you want to build these brand advocates when there's a whole heap of women sitting around a breakfast table and one of them has just got their lashes done. They're like, oh, wow, your lashes look beautiful. Oh my God, thanks. I've just started seeing this new lady, from this salon. Go check her out. So that's the relationship you want, and that's the funnel you want to start taking them down. Brand advocates and word of mouth is the most powerful tool, I think, when it comes to marketing as well. So building those relationships, but putting in the effort. I think a lot of people think when people comment, this is probably totally going left of field here, but this is probably one of my biggest pet hates when it comes to building relationships on social media, is when as a salon, you're not willing to put in the work, right? So if someone messages you and you just hit it with a like, someone has gone out of their way to build a connection with you. They've gone out of their comfort zone to send you a message, to try and build a connection and a conversation. If someone came to you in the street and asked for directions and you just blew them off.
I call it post and ghost. It's like, I posted, now hide. I don't want to talk to anybody. No.
Exactly. And it blows my mind to think that a lot of people want all these clients off social media, but they're not willing to put in the work to nurture them as well.
Yeah. So when it comes to, because I get the same things too, of like, I don't want to put my face on social media. I hate social media. Do I have to be on social media? Look, you don't have to do anything. Nobody is forcing you to do something. What, from your perspective, why is it in a business owner's best interest to have a social media presence?
We were talking about this a little bit earlier, and it's, why would you not want to use a free platform that gives you the opportunity to reach thousands of your potential target audience? Yeah. In my opinion, it's a bit of a no-brainer, and it is one of the most powerful marketing tools that you can use in the current time. So it is, again, you don't have to do it. Some people probably still have, great successful businesses with out using social media as much. However, I feel like they're the sort of businesses that have been around for a very, very long time. They're very established. But if you're trying to grow your business and you are trying to get new clients in the door, what better way to find them than on social media?
Yeah. So what is the objection then for like social media constantly changes, the algorithm, like all that kind of technical stuff that people get overwhelmed by?
I think following the right people is really essential. Again, we're going back to that consumer section of social media, but start following people who are going to add value, who are going to educate you on how to correctly use social media, who are going to give you updates, but are also going to give you solutions. Okay. So just like we do in normal social media, we are addressing a problem that our potential client has, and we are giving them a solution. So this is what you need to be looking for when you are looking for correct people to follow, who are going to help give you that healthy boundary around social media. Yes, there's an update, but here's how you can utilize it in your business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think to the point of like, if you don't look at social media as something you have to do, and it's like this big, heavy burden, if you can shift your perspective to how can I use social media with the boundaries that feel in alignment with me, right? Like, I don't want to spend 12 hours a day on here. I don't want to sit and create 75 posts. How can I do it? Can I start with just one post a week as opposed to nothing at all, or like 7 posts in a day and then not for 6 months? Can I start with something small and learn how to use the tool to my advantage? And I think that's where I see a lot of people who resent social media, is that they're not having success with it. And they keep doing the same thing over and over. And they're like, like I'm getting followers, which are all tweezer manufacturers, or, like people who are trying to follow them as their target market. And they're not getting clients off it. Because here's the thing, and I think, Kayla, you will resonate with this with me as well. When you start to make money off of social media because you are consistently getting clients DMing you and booking off of social media, you are incentivized and motivated to keep doing it and doing it better and doing it more.
Exactly.
Right.
Absolutely.
Learn how to use the tool.
Absolutely. I had a client that I was working with for some time, and she came to me because she said, look, Kayla, I am posting 7 days a week on my feed. I'm posting. I feel like I'm doing all the right things.
Check the box of posting.
Right. I'm ticking the boxes, but I'm not getting anywhere. And, I sat down and I said to her, okay, when I had the agency, or obviously still have the agency, but I'm not taking on any new clients. But at that time, I just said, okay, what package can you afford? And she's like, look, I can only afford the 3 to 4 posts a week package. Cool. No problems. So we started posting 3 to 4 times a week, and we actually found that she was getting more engagement by posting less than what she was when she was posting 7 days. And that was because we had a strategy behind it. We knew who she was as an online brand. We knew who her target audience was. We knew what their problems were, and we knew how to solve it. And by doing that, posting 7 days a week without a strategy behind it is just like, a mouse on a wheel. You're not really getting, you're making traction, but you're not really getting anywhere. So you really need to make sure that when you are posting, you are considering objectives behind it. You've got purpose behind what you're posting. By doing that and understanding who you are in a strategy, you're actually going to get a lot more reach and a lot more engagement. But ultimately, you might only have to post 3-4 times a week. You might have less work to actually do.
Yeah, to get a better result.
Exactly.
That is working smarter, not harder, ladies and gentlemen. Because that's really when, oftentimes, especially with our high level mastermind, these women have, salons and teams. And so they have some proof of being able to market their business to success. And anytime they're like, I have a new team member on, we need to build our clientele. It's never go learn the new thing, the new hot thing, go get on TikTok. It's what has already worked, do it better. Right? Be more intentional about it. It's like, okay, word of mouth is like the thing that works the best for us. Great. How can we be more intentional about getting word of mouth? Oh, I don't know. I'm like, have you ever asked your client at the end of checkout, know anybody? Here's a business card. Right? And they're like, it's so simple. We don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. It's like, if you have had a post in the past that got you a client, go look at that post and see, what was it about that post? Was it a specific after photo? Was it a specific story you told about the client? Was it a specific time of day? Like, find the pattern of success.
Exactly. When we build out a strategy for our members and we go and look at what kind of content they could be posting in terms of what content pillars, this is the first thing we do. We go back and we have a look at the analytics. We have a look at it over 3 months, 6 months, a year. And we actually again, as I said before, we look for patterns in what best performed in terms of saves, in terms of shares, in terms of comments and likes, because that's a whole nother ballgame. Each different metric means a completely different thing to the consumer. So, looking for those patterns, again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you're posting 60 times over 3 months, why not reuse and repurpose some of that content that has performed so incredibly well within your business? On average, a few little percentages here, but on average, 12 to 15% of your audience sees your post, okay, at any one time. And it's only 2 to 8% of people actually see your stories. So if you're only posting once about, a great before and after, or, we were saying before about me, that's a huge potential that you've potentially lost because you've only been posting about it once. So repurpose the content, make your life easier.
Well, especially on social, people's attention span is, so if you posted something 6 weeks ago and it did really well, just don't change anything, use the same photo, the same caption. Now you got your post for the week and go create another one. We do this all the time in repurposing our content. There will be months where I won't create a whole original reel and my team will just repurpose stuff and they'll keep the original reel and then they'll put new text on it. So there's ways that you can maximize kind of the screen time that you're getting off of your content and not have it take up any more time. And I think a lot of people think that people are going to remember a post they posted 6 months ago that did well. I think they're going to think that they're annoying people. Look, the number one thing that when you're in a sales or a promotional, if you get unfollows and unsubscribes, that's probably a good thing because get those people off of your list, off of your following, because they're never going to be customers if you're in a heavy promotional period. We do this where we do launches where we are doing heavy sales and marketing in a very short period of time. So when we launched the mastermind, we were doing 3 reels a day just about this program because there was a deadline for people to sign up. So if you have some sort of promotion or discount or special coming up and there's a deadline to it, the more eyes we can get on it, the better. If somebody's going to get annoyed that you're posting about an opportunity for them to save money on something they're already interested in, they're probably not the right person anyways. Now, we don't want to do this consistently. We don't want to exhaust our audience, but there is something to be said about making sure that you don't get an email a week later going, I didn't know the deadline happened. Can I still get the discount? It's like, you're going to do your due diligence to get that stuff in front of their face.
How often does that happen though, honestly?
I get those all the time. When we close the doors to things, they're like, oh, I didn't know. And I'm like, well, there you go.
This happens in the salon environment all the time. You could have had a client for 2 years and all of a sudden one day you're at checkout, there's a new client that's come in and you've been a lash artist, but you still offer brows and brow lamination. And then that 2-year-old client goes, oh, I didn't know you offered brows. It's
like we talked about it 6 times last time. Yeah.
So the amount of times that used to happen to me in a salon environment was just absolutely insane. But exactly, don't get bogged up in who's following you, who's not following you, okay? Just make sure when you are creating that content, you are serving your audience. And if you are getting one person reach out to you and say that was of value to me, or I want to book an appointment, one person, it takes one person to, trickle down to be, 5 people, 8 clients. So don't be too disheartened if it does not it doesn't go viral, because honestly, viral's a whole nother story, right? People go,
it creates a lot more problems than it does opportunities to make money. I'll be honest with you.
Viral, you could go viral and you could get 10,000 views on a reel. And if you go and look at your metrics, not even 1% of those might be in your location and maybe your target audience. So, we do need to take a step back and try and create those healthy boundaries and understand what is important with social media and what actually can just go to the side and, be forgotten about.
So based on analytics, what do you think is some of either the top analytic, if you wanted to share one, or a couple of the top ones that they should be looking at to gauge that the content is interesting, if they've built the right audience, that content is providing value?
Okay, I'll touch on all 4 of them really quickly without going into too much information. But if I was to look at most people's content in terms of likes, I usually find likes are more of a visual aspect. right? So people see something that looks really nice or looks really pretty or is a beautiful before and after and they like it. More often than not, it's because it's obviously caught their visual attention.
Okay.
They may not necessarily have consumed the caption or the content that you've put into that, but a like would normally reflect that. If someone is actually commenting on your post, to me, it is obviously engaging that audience, right? They are following your call to action. They have consumed your content enough to actually write a comment back on that, which means, again, it sparked their audience on a visual aspect, but also the caption has also enticed them enough to comment. If we were looking at saves obviously reflect to me that it's educational based purposes. It's something that your audience can come back and look at a different time. Okay. I save, or a lot of people save my content because it gives them steps on how to do something, and they might be a little bit busy at that time. They'll save it and they'll come back to it later. For me, it might be, for instance, if it's like how to layer your skincare, right? How to layer your skincare, you're doing it one way, you go, oh, I'm going to save that. So when I do my facial routine tonight, I'll be able to look at and I'll be able to do it in this particular order. Shares means that it's relatable. Okay, so it is something that someone has become completely relatable. They've got that, oh my gosh, that's so me. How I feel when I walk out of the salon after getting my lashes done, like a meme or something like that. That's something that your consumer might want to share on their stories because it's very relatable to them. So I guess they would be the biggest pinpoints in terms of how people are actually seeing the content and consuming it. I find for a salon perspective, likes, comments, and shares are probably the biggest one in terms of saves. The only time it would be a save, it might be an educational purpose on how to correctly cleanse your lashes, how to correctly look after them. Did you know that you can get your lashes wet after, before 24 hours? The big debate,
The controversial post.
Those types of educational based purposes. So each different metric does tell a little bit of a different story about how it's consumed by the consumer.
I love that. I mean, you're spot on, because I don't think I've ever we usually prioritize our saves and our shares, but yeah, for the same reasons of like, oh, it's educational. Like that means they want to come back to it. They trust us because we are an education brand essentially. And then the shares of like, oh, it was relatable that they're sharing it with their fellow industry friends. So that's growing our reach as well. We really gauge, the DMs, the number of DMs, because that's really where our selling happens. That's where our relationship is built. That's where links can be shared. Because we try not to send people to link in bio. And this is maybe a different strategy than salons, but it's like, I want to create the relationship first to almost qualify that I actually can help that person with their pain point. And oftentimes when you're a beauty salon, you should be doing this too, of like, get them in the DMs to have an actual conversation. Like to your point of like post and ghost, people are like, I don't want to be on the platform anymore. But if you've got people in your DMs that are wanting to ask a question, it's a beautiful opportunity to understand them. And then actually that will create more content because you'll see what questions they have and you go answer that question on a post.
Exactly. And think when you're in a relationship with someone, whether it's a friendship, whether it's romantic, if you're the person that puts in all the effort, how long is it going to take for you to flick that person off? Right? So think about that in your social media relationships as well. If your potential client is trying to build a connection with you and you're just flicking them off, you're liking them, you're not getting back to them, I'm not going to say at a reasonable hour, because I feel like you definitely need to have boundaries there, and people need to understand that you are still a business and you are not available 24/7, even though social media is online 24/7. But yeah, you really need to build those relationships and have those healthy boundaries there, but build those relationships.
Yeah, and I know that the most common question, maybe I'll ask you this question. The most common question that gets asked in the DMs is, how much do you charge? And some people get really irritated, like they can go on my website and find out, but they are asking you in the form and the medium that they want to hear from you. And it's a beautiful opportunity to create conversation. Because yes, you'll take it as price point, and all of our money mindset comes up of like, oh, they're going to think I'm too expensive. But kind of tell me how you would handle, or how you used to handle, like those pricing questions that were like the first thing that somebody asks in DM and didn't even like say hi. They just like, how much do you charge?
I reply with hello to begin with. Just to prove a point, we're
not going to be a human, but I will respond.
A little bit passive aggressive there, but that's fine. Manners, who would have thought? I always reply with the prices, because if people have to work for anything these days, again, our attention span is less than a goldfish. You know, that old saying your mum used to say, oh, you know, your attention spans. Well, we actually do have attention spans less than a goldfish now. If people have to work for anything, if your social media doesn't have all the information, if your website isn't easy to navigate, people are just going to say it's too hard basket, and they're going to find another business where it is a lot easier. So for the sake of getting a new client, just tell them the damn prices, right? You can put in keyword conversation text in your Instagram account as well. So if you go, hello, you know, Marianne, our prices, then an automatic message will come up saying what the prices are. You don't have to rewrite it every time. There are strategic ways that you can do it to make your life a lot easier, but
like a template that responds.
Yes, exactly. Don't just go, oh, you can find it on our website, or we've got a highlight for it as well. Just tell them the price for the sake of building a connection and potentially having a client.
Yeah. So what do you say when they get ghosted? Which, by the way, in all sales is common when you get to price point, right? Because people will have one expectation of what they can pay, and maybe they need time. But yeah, so kind of would you have them keep re-engaging and keep following up, or just let the client marinate and ghost?
You could be a little bit strategic about it. You could potentially follow them for a little bit and maybe go and engage with their stories and their content to build a bit more of a strategic relationship around that potential client. Because obviously, again, we're at this relationship process where
Right.
You give you a little, you give them a little, and you're building that relationship and that rapport with that person, which eventually may turn into a client. It may not, but I feel like maybe just contacting them once after, hi, just making sure you got our message. Please let me know if you've got any questions regarding the appointments, or if you'd like me to book an appointment for you, and then maybe just leaving it at that. I wouldn't push the sale personally, but
Why
again,
are you talking to me?
why aren't you talking to me? It gives that real negative mindset around it as well. It's like, oh, no one likes me, da 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 da. I don't know how this is going to sound with an Australian accent behind it.
I love it.
But you know, if they're not the right person for you, they're not the right person for you as well. So you do really have to take it in. You want to work for it, but at the same time, you don't want to have a client who's too much work either. And I don't think everyone is for everyone. Not everyone is your target audience. This is a huge thing that I have with my members. Who's your target audience? Well, everyone's my target audience.
If you got eyeballs, they're for me.
Yeah, exactly. And it just isn't like that. There are people around who do want to try and lowball and get the lowest prices, but it's your job to educate them through content about the difference between the quality that you offer, what sets you apart from your competitors, why do you charge what you charge, what is it about that? So it's up to us as well to build that trust factor and that brand authority around why you charge what you charge is because you are an expert in your field. You have done this training, that training, and the other. You are in a high-end service area. So it's just, everything is an educational journey.
Yeah. I would say the thing that I follow is like, the better your marketing is, the less selling you have to do. Right. The better your content is at educating the client on what makes you unique. Again, if you're for them, if you can solve their pain point, the more you identify with their pain point, the more that they feel like they're understood and that you have the solution, then the less price sensitive they are, because chances are they've done the cheap route before. Right. Or if it's their first time, we always teach to like asking them follow-up questions to make sure that you even understand what it is they want, because we have different services. We have classic versus hybrid versus volume. If you just ask me prices and I don't know which service you want, I'm going to give you the full set price and how long it's going to take. And it's going to be like $200 for 3 hours. They may not know that that's just like the one-time price, that there's actually more fill pricing you need to understand for your budget and your time constraints. So I approach it from asking questions to understand so that you as the expert can present which service you think might be best for the desired results that they want. And so you're kind of going on a fact-finding mission of like, cool, hi, this is Tara. You can use my name, hey, not just ghost or, not have social contact, and say, I would love to help you decide on which services, and I'm happy to share a price point. Can I ask you, have you had lashes before? What kind of look are you going for? Do you wear makeup every day? Kind of do like a little mini consultation. Yes, it does prolong that conversation, but hopefully they're on at the same time. If you find that it's taking them days to respond, you can shorten that and be like, either I took a peek at your page and I see that naturally you just don't wear a whole lot of makeup. I'm thinking maybe classic or hybrid. Here's the price point for that. And again, your fills, this is really what you want to consider for budget. Oftentimes what I see is people in the DMs, when they get asked the price point, they just send their full set pricing. And that to me is where the ghosting happens, because a client may not understand that's not what you pay every 2 to 3 weeks, or they may not even know the maintenance of it. They just see like this number without the value of what they're getting. They just see the money side. And I think that's the missing piece, that if your marketing is done well, that can also educate them on what the value they get in the service, the transformation, the solution.
Exactly. And they've already come to your page and started engaging with you. So you're a quarter of the way there, right? They've come to your page, they're following you already. Now they're asking the price. So you're so far down that funnel already. If it just takes that little bit of effort, like you said, to do that mini consultation, to give them those prices, to educate them on the infill prices as well, to get them to where they need to be, to that, purchasing part of the funnel, it's probably going to take, 15 minutes overall in terms of time and how long you're messaging over the course of a week, a couple of days, or the day. Is that worth a long-term client that you could possibly gain? Yes, 100%.
Yep. Exactly. All right, let's wrap this up with, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What is your top tip for writing captions?
Oh, I like this one. Okay, top tips. Have a good hook. Okay, that is really important. What you want to do is you want to create a hook that is going to entice your client to click that read more, right? And actually consume the content you make. Don't do brow goals. Don't do lash goals. Fluffy hybrid set for this client. Actually go into a little bit of detail. You could talk about the client's journey. You could talk about, what they used to have on their lashes from a different salon, obviously not brand bashing, but what they used to have and what they have now and how they feel. Start talking about, how they actually feel on an emotional and a physical level, as opposed to just talking about generalized benefits. Try and make the caption very, very easy to consume and easy to read. That's a huge one. A lot of people don't use a lot of breaks in their paragraphs when they're writing captions, and everything's just all together. And I'm just like, I'm out of here. I cannot. It's 10:30 at night and I'm just aimlessly scrolling. I want to read this caption. It's too damn hard. I can't do it. I personally like to use a little bit of emojis to create a little bit of personality. So I definitely recommend that. And probably last but not least, have a really clear call to action. And that doesn't have to always be book now, link in bio. Like it doesn't, book now, go to our inbox. Like, again, we need to be asking for the sale. But if your purpose behind the post that you're creating is to create more engagement, ask for the engagement. If the purpose behind what you're posting is to get more people in your inbox, ask them that. So actually tell them specifically what you want them to do in your call to action. And then obviously hashtags, making sure that you're always using hashtags. They shouldn't be your entire strategy, but they do serve a purpose if done correctly.
Beautiful. Love that. All right. One last tip to give. Let's do their bio. Any tips for the bio?
I just did a post on this yesterday, actually, and it was stop putting your business name up the top and then stop putting the same business name underneath that bio section in your username. Okay. Reason for that is obviously your Instagram is done by a keyword search these days, just like Google. So I think a lot of people, I think it's about 40% of people use Instagram to actually search for businesses now. So they're actually going into Instagram. So they're actually going into Instagram to search for lash extension places in their preferred area. So how about instead of having your business name at the top and then your business name underneath, you actually put lash specialist location here. lash artist, location here. So when people are actually searching for it, I do this myself. I go away on holidays and I'm looking for a cafe in the area that I'm staying. I search on Instagram. I don't even bother going to Google because I want to see the images of the food that is going to be served to me. I need to make a relatable connection. Same thing for your audience now. So making sure that you are putting your expertise, your niche, along with your location to get you more searchable and more eyes on your page when people are looking for niche or treatment services in your area.
Beautiful. I love that.
All day, but that is my main hot tip.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that you have your Instagram handle, like us is at the Lashpreneur. And then when you edit your profile, you have where you can put a username, and that's where you can put like San Diego Lashes or Nashville Balayage or whatever to make a service plus a location so that it becomes searchable.
Exactly. That will change the game on its own. It's a massive mistake that a lot of people make. But if you actually do a bit of research behind it and look for lash artists in your area, you'll see the amount of people that come up.
Yeah, when you go to search, you'll see their handle, which may have nothing to do with what you're searching, but what you're searching, you'll see like a little gray font right underneath that's the searchable username, like a Google search, like you said.
Exactly.
Love it. All right, Kayla, where can people learn more about you, find you, follow you?
Okay, you can go to my Instagram account, which is at socials for salons. All the information is there. Would definitely love if you wanted to have a look at the membership as well. We open the membership doors every quarter. So currently open at the moment. It'll be open again towards the middle of the year. But yeah, pop over and say hello if you have listened to the podcast. And if you've got any questions, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, send her a DM, say, I heard you on the Lessons of a Lashpreneur show. You're so amazing. All right, Kayla, thanks so much for coming on. We'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good one.
Bye.